So what does it take for a bonsai tree to look good? Well, its looks, of course. Today we're gonna shape your first bonsai tree. In order to shape your tree, you will need this. Bonsai wires. I don't care what anybody else says on the web, on YouTube. I don't care. You will need bonsai wires. Without bonsai wires, you cannot style your tree properly. Of course, you can use this. You can use directional pruning to shape your bonsai tree, but you will not be able to shape it like you want it to be shaped. I mean, the tree just wants to grow like it wants to grow, especially when they're young, like this tree we're gonna shape today. Young trees, young bonsai trees, because they are trees, they just want to grow tall and big. So you can use directional pruning, but it's gonna take a lot more time to develop your desired shape. Wiring a bonsai tree, well, that's an art on its own. It's very easy to learn, but extremely hard to master. I'm gonna make it easy for you. When you're a bonsai beginner, you need to take little steps. You want to make 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You don't want to make a step forward and 2 steps back. There's a flood of information on the web, and you're just overwhelmed with information from all sides, from all channels, from all the things. I'm gonna make a video for bonsai beginners, bonsai care for bonsai beginners, because bonsai beginners make a lot of mistakes, and you need to clear your head and take little baby steps towards learning how to make proper bonsai. So this is our little ficus benjamina tree. For those of you who haven't seen the previous video, I encourage you to do so. There's a link down in the description so you can see what I did first of all to this tree. So take a look at that video after this one, because it's the first step on making a good bonsai. So I can use directional pruning on this tree. I'm not gonna prune it now because there's nothing to prune. You have to let them grow a lot more before you prune. Just gonna clear this stump here. And what I'm going to do is put some wires on this kind of a triple trunk, let's say, because I can use directional pruning to encourage the growth in the left side and in the right side in order to make branches, okay, and a dome shape. But I'm not liking these tree trunks that are just growing straight like this, and they're gonna clump, okay? Everything is gonna clump like that, and I don't want that, because trees grow like this sideways, okay? The branches lower themselves because of the weight, the snow. This is a tropical tree, but that's what's happening. If I leave it like this, it's gonna look young. So let's put some wires in. I have here a 2mm wire, okay, and I'm just looking. It's a little bit too slim. I need a thicker one, and what I'm going to use today is a 2.5 sorry, millimeter wire. It's always better when you use thicker wires. I also have a 3mm wire, but that's way too thick. If I didn't have the 2.5, I would just use 2, but it's better this way. So I'm gonna just take a good look, and I'm gonna cut a wire for the apex, the middle tree, okay? It's a little bit too big, but we're gonna see. I don't necessarily need to wire this middle trunk, but you know what? If I'm going to wire just the branches from the left and the right side, the tree will sense that, and it will sense that this middle one, it's not stressed. It grows freely, and it's gonna pump a lot of energy into that, and less energy on the wired branches. So you will need to always wire the whole tree. You can get away with things at some point, but that's the professional way to do it. And I've just told you why. So I'm gonna look for a nice entry point, and I'm gonna push the wire straight down into the pot. Okay? Now, I'm gonna hold my fingers and just start coiling the wire onto the branch itself. I just want the wire to be as tight as I can on the trunk. It's quite a bit a challenge because I don't want to break a lot of branches and leaves. And just little by little, I think I'm gonna manage. Always the middle part, the inner part is harder because you have all of these left and right branches that get in your way. And I'm gonna try not to damage it a whole lot. It's quite delicate. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Bonsai trees take a lot of time to build. Don't hurry the processes. Never hurry them because you're gonna damage them, and that will not be good. So just want to give it one more wrap here. I didn't manage to do the job. No, it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna try to cut the excess wire now. Come on. There's a little branch here that I don't want to break. Okay. So we've got our first wire in. I'm gonna leave it like that. And now I'm gonna take another one. I'm gonna check for the length. So kind of like that. I'm gonna cut it. Hope that's enough. And what I'm gonna do now is run it through here. Okay. And just start wrap it around my other two branches. I'm gonna, of course, it's always good to tie two branches together. That's always a good idea. That's how it's done. When you cannot wire two branches together, like we had the first branch, the first middle branch, you have to do what I did and run the wire through the pot. I'm gonna try to move fast, but not so fast. It's very hard for me to wire it and also for you to see what I'm doing here. Okay, let's just take care of the other trunk. That's I always kind of shied away from filming wirings because you cannot see. It's very hard for me to film myself and for you to see what I'm doing. So let's cut the excess on this also, and on the other one also. Okay. Whew. And now we're gonna bend the branches. So I'm gonna take this branch here and try to bend it. You always have to consider the fact that the trees need to be three-dimensional, okay? So you have the up and down, you have the left and right, and you have the backward and the forward direction. So let me just take care of this left one too. Okay. And let me take a look at this and just pull it back like that. And just a little bit towards the top. This is an interesting feature here. Okay, it looks kind of straight right now, but it will look better. With time, everything just settles in and everything gets better and better and better. So if don't worry about that. Okay, so kind of doing it like this. I want this to be in the back, but also the top needs to come back to the viewer's eye. So yeah, okay. And the middle one, I'm gonna pull it back. Again, I kind of wanna do it like this and like that. So this is my final result. It already looks a lot better. So just by using wires, I've managed to give it some shape and further develop it. So it now, if you can see it now, starts to have a kind of a dome-shaped look. We need to let this tree grow a lot before pruning it, but it's very healthy. You need to fan out the branches, okay? Now they will kind of, the design will merge together in time, okay? But you need to leave some space between them. So I kind of like it. We'll see what happens. This styling could have gone way better than this, but we always need to style our bonsai tree for it to look good in the future. We never style the tree to look good right now. I could have made it look a lot better, but I don't want to do that because you always need to think 5 years from now, 1 year from now, let's say 1 year. Okay, I don't want to discourage you, but this is a long-term game, and by doing the right things and not being in a hurry, you're gonna get things done way faster. And that's why I made the branches so fan out, so far apart from each other, because they need space between them. They need space to grow secondary branches so we can build a crown, we can build a branching structure. Okay, if I was just to leave them like that and did do some directional pruning with the bonsai shears, with the bonsai pruning shears, the trunks would have been just clumping like that. And what would have happened? I would get a tall stick and a bush. And that's not a bonsai tree. By making these little adjustments, little tweaks, and understanding how to make the steps that you require to make in that certain time, by not being in a hurry, you will just make them faster and make better and better looking bonsai trees. So the potting video is down in the description. And this was the second video. Basically, we had the repotting, the first potting from the stage of a cutting, a rooted cutting. This is kind of the second video, the second stage, and we're gonna get to the first stage at some point, which will be pruning, but not right now. It needs to grow a lot more before I can prune it, because as big as it gets before you prune it, it needs to get very, very big. You're gonna get shoots everywhere. You're gonna get new branches. You're gonna and until you make the pruning, by letting it grow big, the trunks will get thicker, and that's the secret. You do not want a slimy, skinny bonsai tree, because that doesn't look like a tree, doesn't look like an old tree. You remember, you don't have to make old trees, you don't have to have an old bonsai, you just need to make it look like an old tree. You can even make that with a 5-year-old tree. You can make it look like an old tree, and that will be pretty cool. Watch the next video. Bye.